The sirens stopped. Mara stood in the center of the main hall, surrounded by the remnants of the Valentine's party. Empty champagne glasses, torn red fabric hanging crooked from the ceiling, the golden lights flickering weakly like dying stars. The crowd was gone, the music was dead. The only sound left was the echo of heavy boots on concrete, moving toward her from every direction. She turned toward the entrance. 6 officers poured through the door. Black uniforms, badges gleaming under the weak light, faces calm, controlled, moving with practiced precision. Relief flooded through her so fast it almost knocked her to her knees. "Thank God," she breathed. "Thank God you are here." "Mara Chen," one of them called out. Tall, broad-shouldered, his hand resting on his belt. She nodded quickly. "Yes, I'm the one who called. There are people in the back, hurt people. They need help. There's a woman on the floor. She's barely conscious. They took—" "We know," he said. 2 words. Flat. Empty. Mara paused. You know? Then why aren't you—" "Hands behind your back." She blinked. "What?" "Hands behind your back." He stepped forward, pulling something from his belt. Not a gun. Handcuffs. "Wait, what are you doing?" Mara took a step back. "I'm the victim here. I called you. There are people dying in the back rooms." "Hands? Now." 2 other officers moved in from the sides. Fast, efficient. One grabbed her right arm. The other grabbed her left. She tried to pull away, but their grip was iron. Cold, unyielding, practiced. "Stop! Let go of me!" Her voice cracked. "What is happening?" The tall officer stepped closer. His face was completely calm. No anger, no urgency, just routine. Like this was something he'd done 100 times before. "You are under arrest for trespassing, public intoxication, and disturbing a private event." The words didn't make sense. They landed in her ears, but her brain couldn't process them. Trespassing? Intoxication? Private event? "Are you insane?" Mara twisted against the hands holding her, her bare feet sliding on the concrete. "This isn't a private event. They're selling people. They're cutting people apart. I have proof. I saw it." "You are clearly disoriented, ma'am." "I am not." The cuffs clicked around her wrists. Cold metal. Tight. Final. Mara's breath came in short, sharp gasps. Her mind was racing, trying to catch up, trying to understand how this was happening. She looked from officer to officer, searching for one face, just one that looked confused, concerned, human. Nothing. "Please," she said, her voice shaking now. "Please just go back there. Just look. You'll see. The glass cases, the bodies, the woman on the floor. Her name is Sophia. She needs a hospital." "We will take it from here," the tall officer said. He nodded to the others. "Bring her." They started moving. Not toward the exit, toward the corridor. Mara's heart slammed against her ribs. No, wait." She dug her heels in, but her bare feet had no traction. They dragged her forward, step by step, past the cocktail tables, past the torn fabric, past the place where she had danced just hours ago, thinking the world was beautiful. "Wait," she screamed. "Where are you taking me?" No answer. The corridor entrance loomed ahead. The cold blue light, the bare concrete walls, the same hallway she had walked down alone, terrified, searching for answers. Now they were dragging her back into it. "Help!" Mara's voice cracked against the walls, swallowed by the silence. "Someone help me, please!" Nothing. No one. The building was empty, except for the officers and whatever was waiting in the back. They pulled her into the corridor. The air changed immediately. Colder, sharper, chemical. Her breath came in short, visible puffs. And then she saw it. At the end of the hall, standing in the doorway to the red-lit room, arms crossed, leaning casually against the frame, like she were waiting for a friend to finish getting ready. Jenna. Still in that burgundy dress, still perfectly composed, hair still in place, makeup still flawless. And she was smiling. Not the warm smile Mara had known for 4 years, not the mischievous grin that used to make her feel safe and seen and understood. This smile was cold, satisfied, the smile of someone watching a plan come together exactly the way she designed it. Their eyes locked. Mara stopped fighting. Her whole body went still. The officers kept dragging her forward, but she wasn't resisting anymore. She was just staring, trying to understand, trying to find one shred of the person she thought she knew in the face in front of her. Jenna pushed off the door frame and walked toward them, slow, casual, like she had all the time in the world. "Hey, Mara," she said. Her voice was light, almost playful. "How you holding up?" Mara couldn't speak. Her throat had completely closed. Jenna tilted her head, studying her. "You look a little rough. Should have stayed at the party, babe. I told you it was going to be the best night of your life." Mara couldn't make words. Jenna widened her smile. "I did." No hesitation, no shame, just simple, brutal honesty. The officers stopped in front of the red-lit doorway. One of them looked at Jenna and nodded. She nodded back. A transaction, an understanding. "Take her in," Jenna said. They dragged Mara past her, so close their shoulders almost brushed. Mara turned her head, looking back, her eyes wet and wide and desperate. "Why?" she whispered. Jenna met her gaze, held it, and for just a second, one brief, fragile second, something flickered behind her eyes. Not regret, not guilt, something harder to name. Then it was gone. "You'll find out soon enough," Jenna said. The officers pulled Mara through the door, into the red light, into the cold, into the room with the glass cases and the man in black and the smell of something sharp and chemical that burned the back of her throat. The door swung shut behind her. Final. Irreversible. She was trapped. The room was freezing. Not cold, freezing. The kind of cold that settled into your bones and stayed there, turning every breath into a small, sharp ache in your chest. Mara sat on the concrete floor, back pressed against the wall, arms wrapped tight around her knees. The handcuffs were gone. They'd removed them once they locked her in here, but her wrists were raw and red where the metal had bitten into her skin. The room was small, maybe 10 feet by 10 feet, bare concrete on all sides. A single fluorescent light flickered overhead, casting everything in a sickly pale glow. No windows, one door, locked from the outside. And she wasn't alone. There were 6 other people in the room with her, 5 women, 1 man, all of them sitting against the walls, knees pulled up, faces hollow and pale. No one spoke, no one looked at each other. They just sat there, breathing, existing, waiting for something none of them wanted to name out loud. Mara had tried talking to them when they first threw her in. "How long have you been here?" she'd asked the woman nearest her. Young, maybe 25, blonde hair matted against her face. The woman didn't answer, didn't even look up. "Do you know what they're doing?" Mara tried again. "Do you know how to get out?" Nothing. It was like talking to ghosts. So Mara stopped trying. She pulled her knees tighter to her chest and stared at the door, counting her breaths, counting the seconds, counting anything she could to keep her mind from spiraling into the full horror of where she was and what was going to happen. Hours passed. Maybe. Time felt different in here, slippery. She couldn't tell if it had been 3 hours or 10. And then the door opened. Everyone's head snapped up at once. 2 men stepped in, black suits, calm faces. One of them pointed at the blonde woman who hadn't answered Mara's questions. "You," he said. "Let's go." The woman stood slowly. Her legs shook. She looked back at the rest of them just once, and her eyes were wet and wide and full of something that looked like goodbye. Then she walked out. The door closed. Mara's heart pounded. Where are they taking her? No one answered. She looked around the room. Where are they taking her? The man sitting across from her, older, maybe 40, dark circles under his eyes, finally spoke. His voice was flat, dead. "You don't want to know." Mara opened her mouth to argue, but the words died in her throat. Because deep down, in the part of her brain that had been screaming since the moment she walked into this building, she already knew. She just didn't want to be right. The blonde woman didn't come back. Hours passed. Mara thought it was hours, but she couldn't be sure. And the door opened again. This time they took the man. He didn't look back. Then they took another woman, then another. One by one, methodically, like they were walking through a list. Each time the door opened, Mara's whole body tensed. Each time they pointed at someone else, relief and guilt crashed through her in equal measure. Relief that it wasn't her, guilt that she felt relieved. By the time 2 days had passed, she thought it was 2 days, they'd brought food, thin soup in plastic bowls that tasted like nothing. There were only 3 of them left. Mara, a woman with short black hair who hadn't said a single word since Mara arrived, and a teenage girl who couldn't have been older than 17, curled in the corner, rocking slightly, humming something under her breath that might have been a song once. Mara pressed her forehead against her knees and closed her eyes. This is how I die, she thought, in a freezing room, waiting my turn. And then the door opened. But this time, no men in black suits stepped through. Jenna did. She was still wearing that burgundy dress, but it looked different now, slightly wrinkled, the hem dirty. Her hair was pulled back in a ponytail. She was carrying a tray with 3 bowls of soup and a bottle of water. She stepped into the room like she owned it. Mara's head shot up, her whole body went rigid. Jenna's eyes found hers immediately. She smiled. "Hey, babe," she said, her voice light and casual, like they were meeting for brunch. "Brought you lunch." Mara didn't move, didn't speak, just stared. Jenna set the tray down on the floor and crouched in front of her, resting her elbows on her knees, head tilted to the side like she was examining something mildly interesting. "You look terrible," Jenna said. Mara's jaw tightened, her fists clenched. "Why are you doing this?" Jenna raised an eyebrow. "Doing what?" "Don't." Mara's voice cracked. "Don't play games with me now. Just tell me why." Jenna studied her for a long moment, then she sighed and stood, brushing imaginary dust off her dress, looking down at Mara with an expression that was almost bored. "You really want to know?" "Yes." "Fine." Jenna crossed her arms and leaned back against the wall, looking down at Mara with an expression that was almost bored. "You remember that joke you made a few months ago? We were at that cafe. You were going on and on about how sweet your boyfriend was, how he surprised you with flowers, how he took you to that fancy restaurant, how he treated you like a queen." Mara's stomach twisted. She remembered, vaguely. It had been nothing, just casual conversation. "And then you laughed," Jenna continued, her voice still calm, still steady. "And you said, 'God, Jen, you need to find yourself a guy like that, someone who actually treats you right for once.'" The words landed like stones. Mara stared at her. That's what this is about? A joke?" "It wasn't a joke to me." Jenna's voice didn't rise, didn't crack. It stayed perfectly level, perfectly cold. "You have no idea what it's like, Mara, watching you live this perfect little life. Perfect boyfriend, perfect relationship. He bought you that necklace you're wearing. He paid your rent last month when you were short. He planned that whole birthday trip for you." "He's my boyfriend," Mara said weakly. "That's what people do when they... And what do I have, huh? What do I have, Mara? I work 2 jobs. I can barely pay my bills. The last guy I dated ghosted me after 3 weeks. My life is falling apart. And you..." She stopped, took a breath, smiled again. "You just kept shining, kept glowing, kept rubbing it in my face without even realizing it." Mara's throat burned. I wasn't trying to..." "I know. That's the worst part. You weren't even trying. It just came so easy to you." She crouched down again, this time so close Mara could see the cold calculation in her eyes. "So when they approached me, when they told me what they needed and what they'd pay, I thought about you. And I thought, why not?" Mara's breath caught. They paid you?" "They're still paying me," Jenna smiled. "Every person I bring in, I get a cut. And you," she reached out and tapped Mara's knee lightly, "are worth more than most. Healthy, young, good organs. You're going to make me a lot of money, babe." The room tilted. Mara couldn't breathe. Jenna stood and picked up the tray again. "Eat your soup. You need to stay healthy." She turned toward the door, then paused and looked back. "Oh, and don't get your hopes up. No one's coming for you. Your boyfriend's been calling, but I told him you went on a last-minute trip. He believed me." She winked. "He always does." And then she left. The door closed, locked. Mara sat there, staring at the bowl of soup on the floor, her whole body shaking. But this time it wasn't from the cold. It was from rage. That's how long Mara had been in that freezing room. 4 days of thin soup and cold concrete, and watching the door open and close, waiting for her turn. The girl in the corner was gone now, taken yesterday. She didn't scream, didn't fight, just stood up when they called her and walked out like she'd given up a long time ago. Now it was just Mara and the woman with short black hair. They still didn't talk, but sometimes late at night when the fluorescent light finally shut off and the room went dark, Mara could hear her crying. Soft, quiet, the kind of crying you do when you've already accepted what's coming. Mara didn't cry. She planned. Every time Jenna came with food, twice a day, like clockwork, Mara watched her, studied her, the way she moved, the way she talked, the camera in the corner of the room that Jenna never looked at but Mara had noticed on day 2. A small black dome mounted near the ceiling, red light blinking steadily. They were watching, recording everything. And if they were recording everything, that meant they had Jenna on camera too. Every word, every confession, every cold, calculated smile. Mara just needed her talking, really talking, make her say it all out loud, where the camera could see and hear everything. So when the door opened on the morning of the 5th day and Jenna walked in with the tray, Mara didn't look away, didn't stay quiet. She looked right at her. "Does it make you feel good?" Mara asked. Jenna paused mid-step, raised an eyebrow. "Does what make me feel good?" "This," Mara gestured around the room. "Watching me sit here, knowing what you did, does it make you feel powerful?" Jenna smiled, set the tray down, crouched in front of her. "Honestly, yeah, it kind of does." "Why?" "Because for once," Jenna said slowly, "I'm not the one waiting for scraps. I'm not the one begging for attention. I'm not the one watching someone else get everything while I get nothing." She leaned closer. "You have no idea how good it feels to finally be in control." "Control of what?" Mara pressed. "You're working for them. You're a puppet. You think you're in control, but you're just another piece in their system." Jenna's smile faltered, just for a second. "I'm getting paid," she said. "To sell your best friend. To survive." Jenna's voice sharpened. "You don't get it, Mara. You've never had to fight for anything. Everything just falls into your lap. Your boyfriend, your life, even your pain. People actually care when you're sad. When I cry, no one even notices." "So you decided to sell me, cut me apart, and auction off my organs because you are jealous?" "Yes, no hesitation, no shame. Because you had everything I wanted and you didn't even appreciate it. That stupid joke about you finding a decent guy, that was the last straw. I was already talking to them by then, already in too deep. And when they asked me if I knew anyone who'd be a good fit," she smiled, "your face was the first one I thought of." Mara's hands curled into fists, but she kept her voice steady, kept her eyes on Jenna's face, kept her talking. "And you don't feel bad, not even a little?" Jenna tilted her head, thought about it. "No," she said finally, "I really don't." Mara didn't nod, looked up at the camera in the corner just for a second, just long enough to make sure it was still blinking red, and then looked back at Jenna. "Good," Mara said quietly. "I wanted to make sure." Jenna frowned. "Make sure of what?" Mara didn't answer. Jenna stared at her for a long moment, then stood, brushing off her dress. "Whatever, enjoy your soup." She turned toward the door. And that's when the explosion hit. Not an actual explosion, a sound, a crash, loud, violent, somewhere above them. Metal slamming into metal, shouting. Alarm started blaring, sharp, piercing, splitting the air like a siren. Jenna spun around, eyes wide. The door to the room flew open, but it wasn't the man in black. It was him. Mara's boyfriend, tall, broad-shouldered, blood on his knuckles, fury in his eyes, standing in the doorway with a metal pipe in one hand and a wild, desperate look on his face. "Mara!" he shouted. She was on her feet before she even realized she was moving. "Ryan!" she shouted. He ran to her, grabbed her face with both hands, checked her for injuries, his eyes scanning every inch of her like he was trying to memorize that she was real, that she was alive. "Are you hot?" he gasped. "Did they? I'm fine. How did you? I tracked your phone.
I've been looking for days. I knew something was wrong. I knew. He stopped, pulled her into his chest, held her so tight she couldn't breathe. I'm getting you out of here. Jenna was still standing by the door, frozen, staring at them with wide, shocked eyes. Ryan saw her. His expression went cold. You, he said. Jenna took a step back. You did this to her. Ryan, He lunged. Mara grabbed his arm. Wait, we need the footage. He stopped, looked at her. What? The security footage. It's all recorded. Everything she said, everything they did. We need it. Ryan's jaw tightened. He looked at Jenna, then back at Mara. Where? Security office, down the hall. He nodded, grabbed her hand. Let's go. They ran. Out of the room, into the blue-lit hallway. The alarms were deafening now. Red emergency lights spinning overhead. Footsteps pounding somewhere close. Too close. Ryan pulled left, down another corridor. Mara's bare feet slapped against the cold concrete, her lungs burning, her heart slamming against her ribs. A door ahead, small, unmarked. Ryan kicked it open. Inside was a wall of monitors, screens showing every room in the building, the glass cases, the operating tables, the holding cells, and in the corner, a server rack, hard drives stacked and blinking. There, Mara pointed. Ryan ran to it, started yanking cables, pulling drives. Which one? All of them, Mara said. Just take all of them. He grabbed a bag from under the desk, someone's backpack, left behind, and started shoving hard drives into it. Behind them, the footsteps got louder. Ryan, almost done. The door exploded inward. 3 men, black suits, guns drawn. Ryan spun around, putting himself between Mara and the guns. Run, he said. No, run, Mara. The first shot cracked through the air. Ryan gasped, stumbled. His hand went to his side. Blood bloomed dark and fast across his shirt. No, Mara screamed. He shoved the bag into her hands, pushed her toward the back exit. Go. Don't stop. Don't look back. I'm not leaving you. Go. Another shot. Ryan's leg buckled. He fell. Mara's whole world tilted. She grabbed for him, but he shoved her away, hard, his face twisted in pain and fury and something that looked like love. Run, he whispered. Please. The men were reloading. Mara clutched the bag to her chest, looked at Ryan one last time, his face pale, his eyes begging her to go, and she ran. Through the back exit, into another hallway, past the glass cases, past the red lights, past everything. Her feet were bleeding, her lungs were screaming, but she didn't stop. She ran until her legs gave out, and then she collapsed on the wet pavement 2 blocks away, gasping, sobbing, clutching the bag of hard drives like it was the only thing left in the world that mattered. Because it was. 3 weeks, 21 days since Mara ran from that building with Ryan's blood on her hands and a bag full of hard drives clutched against her chest. 21 days of hiding in cheap motels, paying cash, using fake names, jumping every time a door slammed or a siren wailed in the distance. 21 days of silence. She'd tried calling Ryan's phone the first week, over and over, straight to voicemail, every time. She tried texting, tried everything, nothing. She didn't know if he was alive, didn't know if they'd taken him to a hospital or dumped him somewhere or worse. The not knowing was eating her alive from the inside out. And Jenna vanished. Her social media went dark. Her apartment was empty when Mara risked driving past it one night. No updates, no posts, nothing. Like she disappeared into thin air. Mara couldn't go to the police. They'd already proven whose side they were on. She couldn't go home. They knew where she lived. She couldn't reach out to friends or family. Anyone she contacted would be a target, a loose end, another person they could use to find her. She was alone, completely, terrifyingly alone. Except for the hard drives. She'd found a library 3 towns over, quiet, out of the way. The kind of place where no one asked questions if you sat in the corner with a laptop for 6 hours at a time. That's where she spent her days, downloading, sorting, watching. The footage was worse than she remembered. Hours and
hours of it. The glass cases, the operating tables, people being prepped, people being sold. Jenna walking through the hallways like she owned the place, smiling, laughing, bringing food to the cells. And the audio. Mara had isolated every single conversation Jenna had with her, every word, every confession. You had everything I wanted and you didn't even appreciate it. That stupid joke about finding a decent guy, that was the last straw. You are worth more than most. You are going to make me a lot of money, babe. Every syllable, crystal clear, time-stamped, undeniable. Mara spent 2 weeks editing it all into one seamless video. She cut nothing, left every horrifying second intact. The man in black's face, the guards, the police officers who dragged her in, Jenna's smile, Jenna's voice, Jenna's confession. And at the very end, Mara added one final clip. Her own face, recorded on her phone 3 days ago, sitting in a motel room with the lights off, her eyes red and hollow, her voice steady. My name is Mara Chen. 3 weeks ago, my best friend Jenna Hartley lured me to a Valentine's party and sold me to an illegal organ harvesting ring. She did it for money. She did it because she was jealous. She did it because I made a joke she didn't like. This is what she said to me while I was locked in a cell waiting to die. This is her face. This is her voice. This is the truth. If you're watching this and I'm gone, make sure the world knows what she did. Mara uploaded the video on February 14th. Valentine's Day. She didn't post it to just one platform. She posted it everywhere. YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Reddit, Facebook, local news tip lines, national news tip lines, crime bloggers, true crime podcasts, everywhere she could think of. The title was simple. Valentine's Betrayal. My best friend sold me to an illegal organ harvesting ring. She hit publish at 6 a.m. By 8 a.m., it had 50,000 views. By noon, it had 2 million. By 3 p.m., every major news outlet in the city was running the story. By 6 p.m., Jenna's face was on every screen in the country. Mara sat in the motel room, laptop open, watching it spread like wildfire, watching the comments pour in, watching people share it, watching the fury build. I hope she rots in prison. This is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. How do we know this is real? It's real. I know someone who went missing from that area. Oh my God. Her smile makes me sick. Justice for Mara. The news stations picked it up. Reporters stood outside Jenna's apartment, outside the workhouse, outside the police station, microphones, cameras, questions. Miss Hartley, did you participate in an organ trafficking ring? Miss Hartley, do you have a statement? Miss Hartley, Miss Hartley. Jenna didn't answer. She was arrested at 7:43 p.m. Mara watched it live on the news. 2 officers escorting her out of a building Mara didn't recognize. Her hands cuffed behind her back. Her face pale, her eyes wide and wet. No more smiles, no more confidence, just fear. The reporters swarmed her. Did you do it? Why did you do it? Do you have anything to say to Mara Chen? Jenna looked directly into the camera. Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. Nothing came out. They put her in the back of the police car. The door slammed shut. Mara watched the car pull away, and she felt nothing. No satisfaction, no relief, just empty. Because Ryan was still gone. The call came 2 days later. Unknown number. Mara almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Hello? Is this Mara Chen? A woman's voice, professional, calm. Yes. This is St. Brace Hospital. We have a patient here, Ryan Callahan. He's been asking for you. Mara's breath stopped. He's alive? Yes. He's in recovery. He's stable. Would you like to come see him? Mara ran out the door before the woman finished the sentence. The hospital was 40 minutes away. Mara made it in 25. She ran through the sliding doors, past the front desk, following the room number the nurse had given her over the phone. 3rd floor, room 317. She found it, stopped outside the door. Her hand hovered over the handle. She was terrified. terrified of what she'd see, terrified he wouldn't be okay, terrified this was some kind of trick. She pushed the door open. Ryan was lying in the hospital bed, pale, thinner than she remembered, an IV in his arm and bandages wrapped around his torso. But his eyes were open, and when he saw her, he smiled. "Hey," he said. His voice was rough, weak, but it was his. Mara's legs gave out. She collapsed into the chair beside his bed, grabbed his hand, and held it so tight her knuckles went white. "You're alive," she whispered. "Barely," he tried to laugh, winced. "They got my kidney, but I'm still here." Tears streamed down Mara's face. She pressed her forehead against his hand. "I thought you were dead. I thought—" "I know." He squeezed her hand weakly. "I'm sorry. They found me 2 days after, dumped in an alley. Some guy called 911. I've been in surgery, in and out. I couldn't call." "It's okay. You're okay. That's all that matters." They sat in silence for a long moment, just breathing, just existing, just alive. "I saw the video," Ryan said quietly. Mara looked up. "The whole city saw it, Mara. You took her down. You ended it." "She deserved worse." Maybe. He reached up with his free hand and brushed a tear off Mara's face. "But you survived. That's the real revenge. You are still here, and she's not." Mara closed her eyes, let his words settle, let herself feel it for the first time. She'd survived. She'd won. Jenna's trial lasted 6 months. The evidence was overwhelming. The video, the hard drives, testimonies from the other survivors, the woman with short black hair, the man who'd been taken before Mara, 3 others who had been found barely alive in other locations tied to the ring. The prosecution tore her apart. Jenna's lawyer tried to argue she'd been coerced, that she was a victim too, that she'd been threatened. The jury didn't buy it. Guilty on all counts. Conspiracy, human trafficking, accessory to murder. 25 years. No parole. Mara watched the sentencing from the back of the courtroom. She didn't speak, didn't testify. She'd already said everything she needed to say in that video. When they led Jenna in cuffs, Jenna turned and looked at her, one last time. Mara stared back, cold, empty, unmoved. Jenna's mouth moved. Mara couldn't hear the words, but she could read her lips. "I'm sorry." Mara did not respond. She just turned and walked out of the courtroom, into the sunlight, into the air, into the rest of her life. The moral: betrayal cuts deeper than any blade. But survival, true survival, isn't just about escaping the trap. It's about making sure the person who set it can never do it again. Revenge doesn't always need violence. Sometimes the most devastating thing you can do is simply tell the truth, loudly, publicly, where everyone can see, and let the world do the rest. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and tell us what you learned in the comments below. Stay safe this Valentine's, and remember, trust is sacred. Protect it, because once it's broken, some people will do anything to make sure you never get the chance to heal. Please drop in the comment section where you are watching this from.